Mike, relations in the Trump administration with China have gone hot and cold. We saw, of course, those exchanges between the presidents Trump and Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping visiting Florida, Mar-a-Lago, then Trump visiting Beijing later last year on his stop in Asia. We first saw the Trump administration wooing China. Then we saw this confrontation approach, the recent national security strategy put out by the Trump administration, suggesting that China is now a competitor, a rival power. So this is the context that we have for this meeting between China's State Councilor Yang Jiechi and, of course, Rex Tillerson, the top U.S. Secretary of State, top diplomat in the U.S. Also, this issue of trade that's been now brought to the front of this discussion, the U.S. Treasury Department announcing tariffs on solar panels and cells, and also washing machines, an action that many people saw as a direct poking, if you will, or prodding of Chinese exports to the U.S. We also understand the Trump administration considering similar action against steel and aluminum exports from China, and also considering actions against alleged IP theft happening in China. Now, Rex Tillerson just last week in Latin America calling China this new imperial power. That's that side. On the Chinese side, over the weekend, the Chinese Commerce Ministry announcing it was launching an anti-dumping probe over U.S. imports of sorghum. That's a grain worth about $1 billion annually. The Commerce Ministry also saying the two sides will meet soon to work out trade tit-for-tat issues. That's the context for this meeting. Tillerson inviting Yang to Washington for this two-day visit. Yang saying following this meeting that the best way to resolve these issues was really to cooperate on trade, perhaps even under the umbrella of the Belt and Road Initiative through investment in infrastructure and in construction. Mike?
Roy, that's trade, of course, but what about the DPRK? We know it had to have factored into their discussions.
Right. Well, we did hear both leaders and both representatives announcing a commitment to really contain the nuclear issue on the Korean Peninsula. But just how to do it is quite different. Let's hear from the U.S. State Department spokeswoman, Heather Nauert, following the discussion between Tillerson and Zhang. Let's hear what she had to say.
We hope that China will do more because we know that they can do more in terms of adhering to UN Security Council resolutions and sanctions that have been put in place against North Korea. We're not seeking an adversarial relationship with the government of China. We are simply identifying actions that China has taken that undermine a rules-based order.
Now, that's the kind of language that China resents, being accused of it not doing enough within the rules to, for example, contain the DPRK. That's despite China's endorsement or support of successive UN Security Council resolutions against the DPRK. But their approach is very different. Beijing saying very clearly no to any military force on the Korean Peninsula. Mike?
Roy Umberg from our newsroom, thanks so much.